status update on him?
Yeah, it'd be doubtful.
Just how, I know it's next man up and that's the mentality, but a guy that had that good of a game and, you know, obviously a reward for a career, like, is it just personally kind of sad to see?
Yeah, you like to see him finish and follow it up, but he's doubtful.
Who do you think would step up? Figure it'd be Alexander Madison or maybe?
Yeah, Alex. Yeah.
Now, Jacoby's a guy who never really worries about anything individually, but he is in play for his first 1,000-yard season. Just what have you thought about him throughout the year? Is that something you'd like to see him get?
Yeah, I mean, you love to see guys get their individual awards and accolades, but being around Jacoby, team player, wants to win. Want to go out as a winner.
Speaking of team players, you've obviously spoken a lot about Brock Bowers, but what does it say about him when you come up to him and you remind him of the stats or you congratulate him, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth is it was accompanied by a win, or we got to do more when the team to get that win. Like, what does it say about him and just what he can become as a player with that?
Yeah, it goes back to the first day I met him. That's all he talked about was winning. He didn't care about anything else. He's like, where's the practice field? You know, where's my locker? Where's my cleats? Like, it was all ball. And with a guy that's been, established, now for a couple years from college, now doing it in the pros, it's really impressive just to see the maturity. Not worried about it, and everybody's patting him on the back, got jerseys, got shirts, and all this stuff, and he just wants to work. He just wants to work and win. And you can't have enough of those guys. You want to build that culture. You want more guys in the building just like that in that mindset.
You were just talking about Jacoby, but Jacoby added along with Spillane. Can you just talk about them being able to step up with injuries and transactional things, them stepping up not only on the field but as leaders in the locker room?
Yeah, obviously, you got a big loss in the middle of the season when you trade a good player, and Jacoby steps up, and him and Brock right there with the top targets, 100+ targets, and doing a really good job moving the chains. I think over the last couple of weeks, Jacoby's made some really big time catches, and done a good job. And can't speak highly enough of Robert Spillane, one guy that want to see him be here, be a Raider for a long time. And he's come in, all he's done is produce. 2 back-to-back seasons of very high production in a running game, obviously in the passing game with interceptions. And I think more importantly, just his leadership. He's a guy that's just blue collar, shows up to work every day, does it with a smile, happy, loves it, loves being around his teammates. Those are 2 guys, and think about it, they're 2 undrafted players, right, that we brought in from other teams, and all they've done is stepped in and had a leadership role for us.
You mentioned earlier this week that the message to the team was finished. For you as a former player and now coach, going into the last weekend of the season, how does that feel? Kind of compare and contrast to what it was as you were a player and now as a coach.
Well, I'll go to it. We're playing about half the guys that's going to be on the active roster on Sunday. They got a lot to play for. The future, to keep earning their reps, earn their future roles and things of that nature with the Raiders in 2025. So I think our situation is a little different. We don't have a lot of guys that are proven players, so there's so much on the table for themselves, our coaching staff, and everybody to really finish this thing off with the win at home in front of Raider Nation and cap off this 2024 season.
So, AP, to that point, who are some players that have maybe been excelling behind closed doors that don't get the kind of recognition that the typical guys do?
The O-line, DJ Glaze, I think I'm gonna keep talking about him, just consistent. Going back to training camp, it's impressive. Blocking Malcolm, blocking Max Crosby, and watching him go out throughout the season and just be consistent. I think you really just look at our special teams players. There's been so many of these young guys, that stepped up. Harper, we talked about Isaiah the other day. Trey Tucker constantly improving. Kelly, a lot of these young guys that we're bringing up on the practice squad. Jonah, I can go on and on. So many guys that really have stepped up over the last 8 weeks, just due to injuries and things of that nature. And just watching them produce, whatever their role is. 5 snaps, 50, 60, 60 snaps, be a starter. Andre Carter just came in the other day. He slowed down a little bit on the quarterback, but really productive with his rushes. Really like what he's got. So really excited for the future and the young players we've got on our team.
You mentioned the offensive line. Jordan Meredith was back on the practice field yesterday. What's his status for the game, and I guess what's the plan if he is able to go?
Yeah, he'll be limited. We'll stay with the same 5 guys that were starting last week.
What do you think it would mean to close the season with 3 straight wins?
I think it's huge. You always want to finish the season, play your best football, and I think we are. Regardless of record, losing those games against the Falcons and stuff, I thought we had a chance there, but talked about this probably about a month and a half ago, talking about progress, improvement, seeing consistent play, and I think you're seeing that from our team.
You brought in Scott and Norv mid-season. How do you evaluate and assess the job that they've done stepping in.
Well, Scott's been here. I thought bringing Norv in, obviously, just that veteran presence. You know, it's kind of cool having them kind of old heads around because he says certain things that's real catchy and makes a lot of our younger guys look back and kind of like, what the hell did you just say? But I think Scott's done a good job of keeping everything, the continuity, the chemistry. Put Joe Philbin in that group as well because that's probably been our biggest improvement is on that one.
What have been your impressions so far of Chris Collier, the running back?
It's good. I mean, tried to get him some reps last week, but Amir was so hot. It didn't happen until late in the game, that 4-minute drive. Hopefully this week we can see him early. We'd like to see him and Dylan get some carries this week. So he's been really good in practice, you know, kind of amped up his reps in practice as well. Get him ready to play in the game.
What has it been about Chason that's made it click since he's been with the Raiders? He's already up to 5 sacks.
Yeah, I think just really just the buy-in. I think when we first got here, former first rounder, where do I fit in with Max and all these other players? Tyree Wilson, and then, you know, we played him early in the first game, probably should have held off against Baltimore. But just watching him go through the progression, really buying into our technique, what we're asking him to do, and we've done a lot with him. I mean, he's dropped, he's rushed, he's peeled on the backs. I mean, he's done a lot. Hell, interception, dropped one against Tampa. I know he wants back, but he's been a pleasant surprise. Obviously, the physical traits are there, but just the mentality. Really good in the locker room. Probably one of the better players that we didn't talk about after the Saints game, that before the game, just the message that he was talking about was really good for our team.
Chargers might be playing for something very significant, and they might not have anything to play for on Saturday night, or after Saturday night's results and rest of the guys Sunday. Does that change your mentality, your mindset?
Just worry about the Raiders. Just worry about the Raiders.
Finishing the year with going against the league's best scoring defense offensively, what do you hope to see just in this final game?
Score more than them. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.